Hi, I'm Jason BEHELER.
I'm Gonzalez.
And I'm Lauren Jensen. Is it ethical to experiment on living organisms in order to better humanity's welfare? In this video, we'll be arguing that it is not ethical because, one, it poses danger to the ecosystem, as well as the idealistic view of what is rightly humane.
OKJA, created in 2017 by director Bong Joon-ho, is actually just a film title without meaning. Bong Joon-ho revealed in an article by Florio that, contrary to popular belief, OKJA is just a female name in Korea. OKJA is a story of how a young girl in Korea fights to save her childhood best friend, a genetically engineered super pig created for human efficiency. Now, even though the film title has no cinematic meaning as viewers originally thought it would, the idea that OKJA is the film's title alludes to the importance of the super pigs and how they motivate and influence the characters, as well as their treatment for these modified organisms. This film shows the underlying unethicalness of humanity, and Lauren will show you the first point on how it threatens the ecosystem.
In the film, the Miranda Corporation created the super pigs with one of their main goals being to lessen the damage of the ecosystem that animal production typically causes. Animal production causes our water footprint to increase rapidly daily. Our water footprint is how much water we humans use on this earth every day. The author Hoekstra said on page 21, quote, about 30% of our water footprint is global agriculture related to livestock. The water used for livestock is not only for the water that they drink, but also to grow the food that they will eat. So lowering this would help the water crisis incredibly. Now, while these super pigs were created to help this issue, Lucy Miranda had the goal of increasing production, which in the end would cause water consumption to increase a lot. Furthermore, greenhouse emissions come from all stages of food production, and with an increasing population, the emissions will increase drastically. Greenhouse emissions produced globally from livestock make up, quote, about 19 to 31%. This is said by Hoekstra again on page 33. This proves that its impact on the atmosphere is incredibly substantial. The Miranda Corporation and OKJA wanted to use their super pigs as a solution to these issues, but their methods in the end will only lead to long-term environmental issues, and their methods of reaching this was incredibly unethical.
On page 32 of The Business of Farmed Animal Welfare, written by Nikki Amos, he explains that humans and farmed animals have close relations due to their vulnerability, inability to defend themselves against predators and diseases, and their human dependency. In the film OKJA, we see multiple cases of animal abuse both inside and outside of the Miranda Corporation laboratories. In one scene in particular, we see characters within the film extract slivers of meat from OKJA, who is alive, breathing, and conscious of the actions being done to her. Modern-day non-human experimentation has a list of rules set in place in order to protect animal rights as well as keep humans in line of what we define as ethical. However, it is also humans who define what is morally incorrect and correct. Animal experimentation typically involves the subject being restrained for long periods of time, often are deprived of food, and undergo tests of pain in order to satisfy human curiosity and research. To touch upon human studies, there are also ethical lines that researchers cannot cross, such as inflicting physical and psychological harm to subjects, which can hinder humans' remaining lifespan with trauma. The same applies to animals, who, while not having the same intelligence as us humans, still have the mind and ability to form emotional attachment and human dependency on us, in the same way that children do with adults. This animal-human emotional attachment can be shown specifically through the bond between OKJA and her human caretaker, MAZYAR. So the idea that animal experimentation for the sake of humanity implies that it'd be okay to cause harm to the planet that humans seem to care so much about. But of course, there are other takes on the matter too.
GM crops have consistently proven to have an increased yield when compared to those of non-GM crops. According to Genetically Modified Crops and Food Security by CAME, in a survey of farm households in India, It was shown that houses which adopted BT cotton, the type of genetically modified cotton, had a mean calorie consumption increase of 5%. It is also shown that if all non-adopters of BT switched to BT, the proportion of food insecure households would drop by 15 to 20%. GMOs have shown to benefit the individual household, as over 90% of households in India have adopted BT cotton. While this likely wouldn't be as impactful on the large-scale farming seen in America, it has afforded these households a level of food security which normal types of cotton would not be able to. Genetic modification is often used by smaller farmers who need the added harvest to compete with other farmers. There's an image and a stigma surrounding food modification that paints it as an unsafe tool used by greedy corporations to mass-produce food in large quantities. However, many smaller households need this modification in order to survive, and this technology can be incredibly helpful to households who cannot afford to purchase GM crops and have no other option. This is not a perfect solution, however, as there are still many food insecure households even with this technology, but they should still continue to be used until a better solution can be found. In OKJA, the super pigs were a technology created and solely used by a large corporation. However, if this technology were utilized by smaller farmers, it would undeniably increase their food access. This technology had the potential to incredibly reduce the rate of food insecure households. However, OKJA painted an incredibly one-sided argument against this sort of technology. To end this video, while genetic modification and experimentation can be incredibly helpful among smaller communities, its overall impact on the environment and the cruelty which it has on animals is something that cannot be ignored. It is not a practical solution to entirely halt the use of any sort of genetic modification or experimentation. However, it is possible to reduce our overall dependencies on technologies and the scale at which they are being used.